You simply will not. Now, I want to make just a point here that I think is very, very important. Abstinence from sexual immorality is one of the most essential and basic aspects or requirements of the Christian life. Keeping yourself pure from sexual immorality is one of the most basic and essential things. If you have not mastered this, you have not even achieved, you have not even accomplished, you have not even arrived to the first rung of what it means to be a mature Christian. Now that sounds hard. I want to lay that before you because I am so sick and tired of hearing men across the nation whine about the power of this, when I know God has given us power over it. And thinking it's almost an acceptable thing that you can have this and still do Christianity. No, if you are doing this, you've not even made it to the first rung of Christianity. You're not even walking baby steps in Christianity. And I don't care how many books you've read. I don't care how much theology you know. And I don't care how much wisdom you think that you possess. You've touched nothing of maturity. This is extremely important to understand this. Another point about it is this. Sexual immorality's increased presence in society is indication that it has been turned over to a depraved mind. Romans 1:24, therefore God gave them over in the lusts of their heart to impurity, so that their bodies would be dishonored among them. One of the things that we see from the book of Romans, chapter 1, is we don't see men falling. We do not see societies falling. We see them sliding. And if you notice that when it talks about a society given over to a depraved heart, the great emphasis there is not even war necessarily. It's not even robbing. It's not even murdering. But what is the great indication? Sexual immorality. Sexual perversion. Another thing that we see that is so very important is it is a spiral. It is a spiral. And mixed company will not allow me to teach on this spiral. But I can assure you that some of the most twisted and perverted things that have entered into the mind of man began with something much simpler. Something not as heinous. But as a man gives himself to one thing, then he gives himself to another thing, then he gives himself to another thing, and another thing, and another thing, until his conscience is gone. This is true. This is why especially young men should guard their eyes, guard their eyes, guard their eyes, because it won't stay there. Once you've fed on a tiny thing, you'll want more. And then you'll want more. And then a thing that was very dark will no longer be dark enough. And then you have to go to another dark thing until finally you are consumed with darkness. You must understand that. It's like when I worked with drug addicts in Peru and even here in the United States when I was younger as a Christian. They would always say, your entire life as a drug addict is chasing that first high. That first high is so good and you spend the rest of your life chasing it again. Because no matter how much more you increase, it's not enough. And you just keep chasing and going deeper until you are lost. Now, another point that I want to make, and this is very important that we understand it. Believers are not to associate with any person who professes Christ but habitually practices sexual immorality of any type. Now that sounds very, very hard. But listen to 1 Corinthians 5:11. But actually I wrote to you not to associate with any so-called brother if he is an immoral person, or covetous, or an idolater, or a reviler, or a drunkard, or a swindler, not even eat with such a one. Now, this is a reference to church discipline. And it is not teaching that any person who is struggling with sexual immorality, that they must be disciplined. That's not what it is saying. It is referring to someone who in this struggle has given themselves over to this struggle. They are not repentant, they don't care, and they just keep going on with it, even to the point of flaunting it. That person should be brought into discipline. And yet, if a person in the body who is not disciplined because they truly show signs and fruit of conversion, but are struggling in a certain area, this area of sexual immorality, then here's a few things that I think we need to look at. First of all, as we've seen in the book of Acts, no matter what else they know, they're immature. No matter what else they think they know, they've not even reached the first rung of a Christian ethic being applied to their life. They should never be given a ministry in the church while they are struggling with this matter. They should never be set over any aspect of ministry within the church while they are struggling with this. For the same reason that a man should not be made an elder who does not qualify according to Titus 1 or 1 Timothy chapter 3. Secondly, it is not recommended that this person who practices these things should counsel anyone regarding even the simplest matters of the Christian faith. Now I know, again, that sounds hard. But look at what we're dealing with here. Would I tell a new believer to go out and counsel other believers? Absolutely not. Would I tell someone struggling with this particular sin, whatever aspect of it it is, yes, go out freely, counsel people, give your wisdom? No! No! You should not give your wisdom. You should heal yourself, physician. You should take counsel, not give it. You should grow. You should take this thing and wrestle it till it is conquered, and conquered for a while. For a while. Now,